Well,
Vice President,
Chris,
no.
Can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
He stood up.
No,
he stood up,
the answer to
and
the
he
question is no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
that
get rid
is
of
absolutely
you know what, you're,
not
stop.
true.
You're on tape doing it.
You're going to
Not
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen.
Is,
I hate to raise
Chris,
my voice,
he's
but
on
it seems
tape.
to me, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you?
A heated first presidential debate tonight as President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden square off for 90 minutes.
From the coronavirus and the economy to racial tensions across the country, they covered several topics tonight.
During the entire debate, our Verify team was live fact-checking. 2 Ones to Know's Ben Briscoe is here to help you separate the fact from fiction.
Whew, pretty much every 15 seconds, the candidates threw out another statement that needed to be fact-checked. Our Verify team all across the country tried to keep up online. You can see all of those on WFMYnews2.com. Here is a sample of what we found, starting with President Donald Trump saying his nominee for the Supreme Court is supported by both sides of the political aisle.
Respected by all, top academic, good in every way, In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people.
Our Verify team is ruling this one right in the middle of true and false. Here's why. When Amy Coney Barrett was nominated to a lower federal court, there was a letter published which had signatures of support from some law professors who are known to be extremely liberal. But the vast majority of liberal political groups oppose her nomination. After that, the president criticized how former Vice President Joe Biden handled the swine flu. Take a look at that exchange.
H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no economic recession.
According to the CDC, it was even less people that died from swine flu, around 12,000. And Biden is telling the truth here. There was no economic recession then. In fact, it was in the middle of swine flu that our country came out of a several years long recession and started doing well again. One point here, though, medical experts say swine flu and coronavirus, they're really different animals. We should probably not compare them as pandemics. But the candidates were doing it tonight, so that's why we fact-checked this one. Then the president also talked about how long it took the Obama administration to get out of the recession.
It had the slowest recovery since economic recovery since 1929. It was the slowest recovery.
Okay, this one is a big debate among economists because you can interpret recovery so many different ways using so many different stats. But for this fact check, when the president says slowest, we're going to look at the time the U.S. went into the recession and when the country got out of it. The financial news magazine Forbes crunched the numbers on this one and found President Trump's statement, it's true. Out of 13 recessions since 1929, the Obama administration did have the slowest recovery under that frame we are looking at. They also had the recovery, though, that lasted the longest before another recession hit. Next up, Joe Biden talking about how many people have pre-existing conditions.
And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions.
100 million people, Joe, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number.
A lot of disagreement about this tonight. Here's the deal. A consultant for the insurance industry looked at the data. They estimated there are 102 million people with pre-existing conditions. But the kicker, the federal government says it doesn't know. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, they guess there's anywhere from 50 million to 129 million. That's because they have this wide, crazy range there since the government has never done a formal study to ask people. So, because of that, we have to rule this one as right in the middle of true and false. Coming up, we are taking a look at the best crystal ball we have to predict who will win this election. We checked the polls, which were the best predictors last time around. Find out what they say now in a few minutes.
Ben, thank you. So who do you think won tonight's debate? We're asking you on Twitter and on our website right now. So let us know what you think. Right now, you can see the results here. More than 2,000 people have voted. More than 2,200 people have voted. 83% say President Donald Trump. 16% say former Vice President Joe Biden. Keep voting and we'll take a look at the results again later in the newscast.
You can watch the presidential nominees go head-to-head 2 more times. The next debate is Thursday, October 15th in Miami, and the third and final debate is October 22nd in Nashville, Tennessee. There is one vice presidential debate. It's on October 7th in Salt Lake City.
We've got just over a month until Election Day. Whether you've decided who you'll pick, this election will not look like any we have seen before. WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty is taking a look at your most asked election questions before you head to the polls.
With Election Day quickly approaching, there are a lot of questions swirling, even more so since we're in a pandemic. So we wanted to answer some of the most common. Let's start with registration. The deadline is October 9th. Find out if you're registered with the voter search tool on the State Board of Elections website. You can also see your sample ballot there. If you're wondering whether you have to register again, Guilford County Board of Elections Director Charlie Collicutt says if you voted in the primary, chances are you won't have to.
You have stayed within your county or within Guilford County since then no. If you moved and came back, then yes. If you've moved at all within the county, changed addresses, then go ahead and update the address with us. But you do not need to re-register. You will be fine.
When it comes to voting, you've got a few options. In-person early voting will start October 15th and run through the 31st. You can find the list of several early voting sites on the Board of Elections website. Many have asked about absentee voting, how to request a ballot, how to submit it, and how to track it. You can request it online or in person until October 27th. You can drop off completed ballots at early voting sites or at the Board of Elections office. You can also mail it in. The state has a portal called Ballot Tracks so you can track the status. Even if you got that absentee ballot, you don't have to use it. You can go vote in person instead, but you won't be able to vote twice. Even attempting to is illegal.
I would destroy that ballot. Don't be tempted. Don't send it in. Do not vote twice. But certainly, if you have not yet mailed it in, you can go vote early or on Election Day.
The Board of Elections has numerous safeguards in place if you do decide to vote in person on November 3rd. Head to our website for more on those protocols and precautions, plus more of your questions answered.
Alma, thank you. There are several important election dates on the horizon. Early voting begins October 15th and runs through Halloween. Now, if you're planning on mailing in your ballot, you'll need to request that ballot by October 27th. The earlier you request it and send it back, the better. Election Day is November 3rd. Polls will be open on that day from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
But many of you do plan to vote early, and here is what you need to know. You don't have to go to a specific polling place. You can go to any early voting site in your county. All counties will have polling sites open during the week, and many will offer extra weekend hours. And if you still need to register to vote or update your information, that is available at early voting locations. You will need to prove your residency by showing a specific document such as a North Carolina driver's license. You can find more information by checking out our election voter guide. You can find your polling place, how to find results, and what COVID-19 safeguards will be in place this year on WFMYnews2.com.
Tim, I know it seems excessive, but I brought 2 coats to work today. One, a raincoat for the afternoon and for dinner break, and then the other one for after I leave work tonight because, boy, what are we at now? 55 degrees.
You're prepared, Chad.
Yeah, right. Maybe
can I just say,
over-prepared.
isn't it nice to talk about the weather? I'm just so happy to talk about the weather right now. That's all I got to say. Hey, we are going to talk about that weather, and really nice weather too. As we go into tomorrow, fall air is arriving. It's not too pretty outside right now. Certainly there are still a good amount of clouds. You can see some of those lower clouds even illuminated by the city lights. Temperatures have dropped so much though, now in the mid-50s, and the last of the rain is just getting ready to leave us. Truthfully, it's only a little bit of a drizzle right now here in Greensboro. You'll see the big system that moved by with the strong and even severe storms at times today. That has left us alone. Now we are in the 50s and already reporting clear skies in Mount Airy and in Wilkesboro. So a clear night means it's going to get a little chilly out there. Upper 40s possible in the rural areas, even in the cities, right around 50 tomorrow morning. There are those 40s. More clear sky in the west means cooler temperatures. So it's a chilly morning, a nice afternoon. Lots of sun to go around, folks. We're up to around 68 degrees for your Wednesday. It's going to be a beautiful one. And actually, more dry air is on the way and even cooler air, too. We'll talk about the second cold front coming up.
A Davidson County school is mourning the loss of one of its graduates. Ledford High School leaders say the former basketball player died from coronavirus complications. 19-year-old Chad Dorrell died yesterday. He graduated from Ledford in 2019. His former coach says Dorrell was a selfless player who was well liked by everyone.
This is a perfectly healthy 19-year-old kid that 2 years ago was running up and down the floor playing 30 out of 32 minutes on the basketball court as long as he wasn't foul trouble. If your eyes haven't been opened yet, this is an eyes wide open moment. And it's time to come together as a group and community and not be divided on that issue. Let's take it seriously. Let's wear the mask.
Coach Jason Anderson changed the scoreboard at the high school to display Dorrell's jersey number, number 10. He plans to dedicate the next basketball season to him.
The state health department says it's dealing with a technical issue that's impacting the newest number of coronavirus cases and tests. It posted this alert on the state's health website that shows their virus dashboard. It basically says technical issues prevented some lab data from being processed, and as a result, today's numbers are lower than they should be. And also, tomorrow's numbers will be higher since they'll include today's missing data. One number that isn't compromised today, the number of North Carolinians in the hospital with the virus. There are 950 people in this count today. And you can see the trend line has really stayed pretty steady for the last couple of weeks here. Now, it is important to note Governor Cooper will give an update during a 2 p.m. news conference tomorrow. As of right now, Phase 2.5 is set to expire on Friday. So we'll see whether we'll move to Phase 3 or stay put.
Wake Forest Baptist Health becomes the first health system in the country to enroll coronavirus patients in a crucial drug study. That study looks at which drugs already work against COVID-19 and which ones could be repurposed to help battle the virus. So far, several drugs have shown to either neutralize the virus or help heal organs impacted by COVID-19.
5 p.m. on Friday is the new deadline for Guilford County Virtual Academy registration. It's been pushed back several times. The district says the extension gives parents more time to make a decision that's best for their families, either return to the classroom or continue remote learning.
Guilford County school parents have two options when it comes to learning: send kids back to the classroom or enroll them in a virtual academy for remote learning only. But a survey sent out to parents last night listed a third option: remote learning through their individual school. The district says they sent the survey to see how many parents would be open to this idea. One parent says she's been pushing for this.
I've written letters to the school board. I've written letters to the administration. I've written letters to principals and teachers to ask their opinions.
District leaders say this option is not on the table. They're just gauging interest right now.
House Democrats revealed a scaled-back coronavirus relief bill package. The new proposal cuts about $1 trillion from the original plan. The new relief bill would give an extra $600 to people on unemployment and would include a second round of $1,200 stimulus checks. Democrats and Republicans must still agree on the deal.
Millions of people have filed for unemployment in our state since the pandemic started. That money is so crucial for the people who really need it.
Yeah, some have been approved for unemployment, yet they haven't received any of the money. It happened to a Triad woman, so she contacted 2 Wants to Know's Kevin Kennedy.
The numbers are truly staggering. More than 1 million people in North Carolina have applied for unemployment benefits. One of them is Trinity Smith.
For like several weeks, I never got paid, and I called like 3 to 4 times a week.
Smith worked as a server at a sushi bar. Let go when the pandemic hit. She was out of work and quickly running out of money.
I tried to wait it out as long as I could, but I have, I had to come back home for a few weeks with my mom, and, they've been helping me out pretty much.
Her unemployment benefits on hold, but why was unclear. After a dozen calls to DES, her mom called us.
We literally ran out of every option possible, so she just reached out for me.
The next day we contacted DES, told it would investigate. A few days passed when Trinity discovered something.
I just looked at my bank account one day and it was just there. All the money that I've been waiting for, they just gave me everything that I've been, was supposed to get paid during those 7 weeks at once.
From waiting to wow, $5,000 appearing in her account.
It's definitely a blessing for sure that it did actually wind up working out.
It took a couple months, more than a few stressful nights, and a call from us, but it did indeed work out.
I just want to say thank you, especially to you, Kevin, for reaching out and helping, because if it wasn't for you guys, I probably would have never seen that money ever coming in. So I thank the news.
Kevin Kennedy, 2 Wants to Know.
Last night, Kevin shared how he helped a woman get nearly $8,000 in unemployment. He'll be showing you how he helped other viewers at 11 every night this week. We'll be right back.